I, 32M, have been married to my wife, Emily, 3OF, for almost 8 years. We've been known each other since college. She was the loud, fiery one, always the center of attention, and I was the quieter guy in the background. Somehow we clicked. I honestly thought I hit the jackpot. She was passionate, funny, spontaneous, everything I wasn't T, but everything I thought I needed. We VE had our share of arguments like any couple, but for the most part, things were okay. Or at least I thought they were. The first real sign something was off happened around 4 months ago. Emily started working late a lot. She is in marketing at a mid-sized firm, and her company was going through a rebranding campaign, which suddenly meant late-night meetings, weekend strategy sessions, and emergency dinners with clients. At first, I didn't question it. I trusted her. We always prided ourselves on having no secrets, or so I believed. But then little things started stacking up. She became obsessed with her phone. I'm talking about it never leaving her hand. She'd take it into the bathroom, sleep with it under her pillow, and freak out if I touched it, to move it off the counter or plug it in. She used to leave it all over the house, kitchen table, couch cushions, wherever. Not anymore. When I gently asked her about it, she laughed it off and said, "You're being paranoid, babe. You really think I have time to text anyone besides clients and Karen from work?" That should have been my red flag. But instead I felt guilty for even asking. Classic Emily turning things around, so I questioned myself instead of her. Then came the changes in intimacy. She used to be affectionate, physical, touchy. That slowed down to a crawl. She was too tired, too stressed. Not in the mood again. I gave her space. Maybe work was overwhelming. I wanted to support her. But I'd be lying if I said something in my gut. Wasn't he already whispering the truth? About a month after the intimacy dried up, I decided to do something nice just to reconnect. I made dinner, cleaned the whole house, even picked up her favorite bottle of wine. I figured maybe we'd have a relaxing evening and just talk. Nothing fancy. I missed her. I missed us. She came home late again. Hair perfectly done. Makeup still fresh. Laughing at something on her phone before she even noticed the table set. When she saw the candles and the food, her expression wasn't he touched or happy. It was annoyed. God, could you have maybe told me you were doing this? I ate already with the team. This is kind of awkward now. That hit harder than I care to admit. I didn't say anything right away. Just sat there while she poured herself a glass of wine, scrolled on her phone, and half-watched some Netflix show she didn't even like. She didn't ask me about my day. Didn't say thanks. Nothing, and then her phone buzzed. She looked at it and smiled. Not just a regular smile. That smile, the kind of smile she used to give me when we first started dating. I didn't say anything that night. But something in me shifted. I knew something was wrong. I wasn't he just imagining things. I wasn't he being paranoid. So I did what I never thought I'd do. The next day, while she was in the shower, I checked her phone. I feel sick even writing that. It felt like such a betrayal of trust until I saw what was on it. She had hidden texts under a contact named Monica. I only figured it out because a preview popped up and the language didn't fit a girl's chat. Can't stop thinking about last night. It said, "Wish you were inside me right now." My whole body went cold. I opened the thread. My hands were shaking so hard I could barely scroll. Dozens of messages, pictures, nudes, voice notes, and not just from him, from her too. She was telling this guy how she couldn't stand her boring husband, how he has no idea how to please me, how she only stays because the mortgage is in his name. That was the moment I knew this wasn't he just a fling. This was a full-blown affair. And Emily wasn't he just cheating. She was erasing me. When she stepped out of the shower that morning, wrapped in a towel, humming like nothing was wrong. I was still sitting on the edge of the bed, phone in hand, staring at the screen like it was radioactive. She froze. Her eyes locked on the phone, then flicked up to my face. "What are you doing?" she asked, sharp and defensive instantly. Didn't he raise my voice? Didn't he scream? Didn't he cry? I just asked. Who is Monica? For a split second, just a flicker, her face dropped. Panic. Then she switched gears like a pro liar. Are you effing serious right now? You went through my phone. What the hell is wrong with you, Jake? I held the phone up, scrolled, read one of the messages out loud, the one where she said she wanted him again, in her mouth. Her face turned red. Not with shame, with anger. Those are old. That was a joke between me and Monica's cousin from, like, forever ago. You really think I cheat on you? Wow. That is honestly disgusting. Then she started crying right there. Tears and everything. You don't trust me. You're invading my privacy. I'm so done with this jealous, insecure version of you. Where is the man I married? I wish I could say I stood up for myself right then and there. I sat there in stunned silence while she flipped the script and turned herself into the victim. I actually started second-guessing myself. Maybe I was overreacting. Maybe I misread. Maybe it was some twisted inside joke. Looking back now, I realize exactly what she was doing. Gaslighting. Classic manipulation. She spent that entire day guilt-tripping me, giving me the silent treatment, saying she needed space. Said she was going to stay at her friend Corinne S. for the night to think. Guess what she didn't go to Corinne's. Emily left that night with a small overnight bag and an Oscar-worthy performance. She kissed me on the cheek ice cold and said, "I need to clear my head. Maybe then you'll realize how much you've hurt me by spying." Like that. Spying. Right. Meanwhile, she was the one sending nudes to a dude, saved under Monica. About an hour after she left, I sat there on the couch in total silence, and my brain finally came back online. Something wasn't adding up. Why take lingerie in a gym bag for a night at Corinne's? Why the full makeup? The perfume she only wears on special nights. So I did something I didn't want to do again. I texted Corinne. Corinne and I are casual friends, but she has always been decent. So I said, "Hey, just checking in. Ms. staying over with you tonight, right? Just wanted to make sure she got there safe." Her response, "Wait, what? I haven't talked to him since last weekend. Everything okay?" That was it. Game over. My chest got tight. Hands started sweating. My ears were ringing. I sat there staring at that message, rereading it a dozen times, like it might magically change. I didn't even reply, I just knew. All the pieces slammed into place. Every late night, every emergency meeting. Every time she accused me of being controlling. It was all a cover. She wasn't at Corinne's. She was with him, the guy she was texting late at night. The one who made her smile at her screen while she sat next to her boring husband. Something snapped in me, the hurt. It turned into rage. Quiet ice-cold rage. I wasn't he going to yell. I wasn't he going to scream. I was going to watch her burn with her own lies. So I got up, grabbed my keys, and made a decision. I was going to find out where she really was that night. So here I am, driving through town in my old, dented Corolla at 9:30 p.m., heart pounding like a war drum. I didn't even have a plan, just a sick instinctive need to know, to rip away the last shred of denial I was stupidly clinging to. First, I drove by Corinne's place. Her car was in the driveway. Lights on. Nothing unusual. Emily's car nowhere in sight. I texted Corinne again, thanks for the heads up. She told me she was staying with you. Sorry to drag you into this. Corinne responded immediately. Jake, are you okay? You think she's with someone else? I didn't answer. I drove to Emily's office next. Empty parking lot, building dark. No cars. No activity. Nothing that suggested a spontaneous client meeting. That's when I remembered something. About 3 weeks earlier, I saw a message pop up on her Apple Watch that said, Hotel 8 again. I didn't think much of it at the time. She had brushed it off with, it's a work thing, babe. Chill. So I drove to the motel, eat near the highway. Seedy. Cheap. The kind of place where you don't want to touch the comforter with your bare hands. I parked across the street, far enough to not be obvious. And there it was, her car, parked in the back, next to a black Dodge Charger. I didn't need to guess who that belonged to. She had once mentioned that her coworker Matt, I now remembered his name, drove one. My stomach dropped. I sat there for what felt like an hour, watching the windows. Room 114 light on. Curtains drawn. I didn't want to believe it. But I knew. And then, just to confirm the living nightmare, I saw it. The curtain shifted slightly, just enough. I saw her in lingerie I bought her last Valentine's Day. She was laughing, with a wine bottle in hand, and a man's hand wrapped around her waist. I swear to God, I felt something die inside me in that moment. I didn't storm in. I didn't make a scene. I just sat there watching, numb. When I finally drove home, it was past midnight. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I just sat on the couch, still empty, dead, and I waited. Emily came home around 7:40 the next morning. She walked through the door in the same clothes she left in blouse, a little wrinkled heels in her hand, hair a mess. She looked hungover, or maybe just sexed out. Either way, she looked guilty. But the second she saw me sitting on the couch, she put on the act like she was strolling in from yoga. Oh, she said, surprised you're up early. I didn't say anything. Just looked at her. She dropped her bag by the door, walked into the kitchen, poured herself a glass of orange juice like this was any other Tuesday morning, then finally glanced back at me. You okay? She asked, faking concern. I took a deep breath. S.O., how was Corinne's? She froze just for a beat. Most people wouldn't have caught it, but I did. That's the thing about liars. Their delay is always a little too long. Then she went all in. She was kind of a mess, honestly. Her mom's health stuff is getting worse. We stayed up super late talking. Why, I stood up, walked slowly to the kitchen counter. I wanted to scream, but I didn't. I needed her to keep lying. So I asked you. Sure. You weren't with Matt at the Motel 8 off I-84. Her eyes went wide. Deer in headlights. Gotcha. What, Jake? What the actual F are you following me now? That's insane. You're literally stalking me. Do you hear yourself? I didn't even flinch. I saw your car. I saw you through the window. Room 114. She turned white. I was helping him with a client pitch. She said, voice cracking. It got late. He offered to grab a drink at the bar next door. We talked work and that SS. I crashed on the couch. Nothing happened. Unreal. Lingerie M, you wear lingerie for work meetings now. She blinked. Blinked again. Then turned furious. Maybe if you weren't so paranoid and controlling, I wouldn't feel the need to hide things from you. You're suffocating me, and there it was again. The gaslight. The flip. Her cheating my fault. I didn't say another word. I just walked past her, into the bedroom and shut the door. Locked it. I didn't sleep. I didn't even cry. I just laid there staring at the ceiling, wondering how long she'd been like this. How many lies had I swallowed because she said I was crazy? How many nights had she told me she loved me with someone else's sweat still on her skin? I didn't know yet what I'd do next. After that confrontation, something inside me shifted for good. I wasn't confused anymore. I wasn't in denial. I wasn't hoping for some explanation that would make it all okay. I was just done. But instead of exploding or throwing her out, which believe me, I fantasized about 100 times, I did something she never expected. I acted normal. I got up the next day, made coffee like usual. Didn't he mention the Motel 8? Didn't he mention the texts? I let her lie. I let her play house. I let her pretend nothing happened because I had a plan. I started collecting everything. Screenshots of her messages. I backed up her iCloud a long time ago without even realizing it. Time stamps of her work meetings, texts to her friends, even credit card charges. Guess what? She used our joint account to pay for that motel room. I talked to a lawyer. I opened a separate bank account. I made copies of everything valuable, and I started sleeping in the guest room. She said it was temporary space. I let her believe it. I let her keep digging her grave. The funny part, she got bolder. She thought she won, that she gaslit me back into submission, that I was moving past it. One night, I overheard her in the bathroom on the phone with him. She was laughing, whispering, saying she couldn't wait to be free, that she was only sticking it out for a few more weeks. And then the kicker, I swear. Jake is so stupid. He still thinks we're working on things. I could walk out with everything, and he'd probably thank me. That was the moment I stopped being hurt. And I started being dangerous. After hearing that phone call, hearing her call me stupid, like some clueless idiot she was stringing along, my heart didn't even break anymore. It hardened. I realized even mourning a version of her that hadn't existed for a long, long time. Maybe never. So I made my move. First, I met with the divorce attorney in person. Gave her everything, the texts, the pictures, the recordings, the Motel 8 receipt with her signature, even a copy of the call log from that night. The lawyer's exact words: she's screwed if she tries to go for alimony or assets. He got enough here to bury her. Second, I closed our joint account. Transferred my half into my new account. froze the rest until legal proceedings began. Third, I set up a day to have her served. But I didn't just want it to happen. I wanted her to feel it. So I picked the perfect moment, our anniversary dinner, the one she suggested, as some kind of fake gesture to reconnect, even while she was still screwing Matt behind my back. We got dressed up. I wore the shirt she said she loved. She wore a red dress I hadn't seen in a while, probably because it was last used at Motel 8. She played the part so well, flirting, laughing, holding my hand over the table. I smiled back, played along, even let her order dessert. And then right as the waiter brought the check, the process server walked up to our table and said, "Emily _________. You've been served." Her face went white. The restaurant went silent. She looked at the envelope like it was ticking. "Jake, what the hell is this?" I leaned in, calm, cold, controlled. "It's freedom. Yours. Mine. Congratulations." She went ballistic right there in front of everyone. Started shouting, "You're a piece of shit. You can't do this to me. You're throwing away 8 years." The irony nearly made me laugh. I stood up, tipped the waiter, walked out. Didn't he look back? Not a couple weeks after the papers were served, Emily started trying to fix things. Typical at first. It was subtle texts like, "Can we talk?" And I messed up, "Please, let us work this out." I didn't reply. Then came calls. She'd leave voicemail after voicemail apologizing, blaming, mad crying, promising she'd never do it again. Once she showed up at my workplace unannounced. Said she needed to explain everything in person. I told security to escort her out. She even tried sending flowers, roses, lilies, some stupid card that said, "I'm sorry for everything. Love." But I didn't want to hear it. I'd spent months rebuilding my strength, realizing that I deserved honesty, respect, and love, not her lies and betrayal. I finally blocked her on everything. Phone, social media, all of it. That silence was the sweetest revenge. Not if you asked me 6 months ago how I'd feel after finding out my wife was cheating. I'd have said devastated, angry, lost. Well, that was true. But it was also way more complicated. The first few weeks, pure shock. Like being hit by a freight train. I kept replaying every moment, every conversation, wondering how I missed all the signs. It was a constant mental torture. Then came the anger, raw and blistering. I wanted to scream, break things, yell at her until my voice gave out. But mostly I just felt hollow. Sadness hit next. Not the dramatic crying in the rain kind, but the quiet, creeping loneliness that settles in when you realize your whole life was a lie. I felt betrayed, not just by Emily, but by myself for trusting her so blindly. But then something strange happened. After weeks of pain, the fog started to lift. I began focusing on me therapy, friends, exercise. I found strength I didn't know I had. I stopped blaming myself for her choices. I realized the healing isn't linear. Some days are good, some are awful. But I'm moving forward. After the emotional roller coaster, I knew one thing for sure. I had to rebuild my trust. Not in Emily, because she burned that bridge, but in myself. I started by setting boundaries I never had before. Saying no when I felt uncomfortable. Speaking up instead of bottling things inside. Therapy helped. Talking to a professional made me realize how much I ignored my own needs. To keep the peace, I was so focused on her happiness that I lost sight of mine. I also leaned on friends and family more than ever. Some were shocked, others supportive, but all reminded me I wasn't alone. Slowly, I started doing things just for me. Hobbies I abandoned, nights out with friends, even solo trips. It wasn't about getting over Emily. It was about finding myself again. Looking back, I wish I'd understood some things before all this mess. Trust is earned, not given blindly. I thought because we were married, trust was automatic. It's not. You have to pay attention to the little things. The tone that changes. The distance. Red flags aren't paranoia. When she started guarding her phone and avoiding me, I blamed myself instead of asking the tough questions. Don't ignore your gut. That uneasy feeling, it's usually right. Communication is a two-way street. I kept trying to talk, but when she shut down or turned everything around, I let it slide instead of pushing back. Your worth isn't defined by their actions. No matter what she did, it doesn't make me less valuable. You deserve honesty and respect. Period. It's okay to walk away. Staying for the sake of what we had only dragged me down deeper. These lessons didn't come easy. They came from sleepless nights, broken trust, and raw pain. But now, they're the foundation I'm building my new life on. After the dust settled, I realized life isn't about pretending the past didn't happen. It's about using it as a lesson to become stronger. Here's what I'm doing differently now. Prioritizing my mental health. Therapy continues to be my anchor. I'm learning to process emotions instead of suppressing them. Setting clear boundaries. No more tolerating lies or disrespect. If someone crosses the line, I walk away, being honest with myself. I ask tough questions and listen to the answers, even when they hurt. Rebuilding self-esteem. I'm pursuing hobbies and goals I put on hold. Rediscovering who I am outside the marriage. Surrounding myself with support friends, family, and even new connections who value honesty and loyalty. Taking things one day at a time. Healing isn't a race. Some days I'm strong, some days I'm not, and that's okay. I'm not sure where life will take me next, but for the first time in a long time, I feel hopeful. If you're reading this because you suspect or know your partner is cheating, here is what I want you to know. Trust your instincts. Don't brush off those little feelings that something is off. They're important. Don't blame yourself. No matter what, cheating is their choice and responsibility, not yours. Document everything. If you suspect infidelity, start keeping evidence. It'll help you make decisions later. Seek support. Don't isolate yourself. Friends, family, therapy. They'll help you stay grounded. Don't rush decisions. Take time to process, feel, and think clearly before deciding to stay or leave. Protect yourself financially and legally, especially if you share assets or kids. Remember your worth. You deserve honesty, respect, and love. Never settle for less. Healing is possible. It's a messy, painful process, but it does get better. Cheating shatters trust, but it doesn't have to destroy you.